Welcome to Effective CSPM for Agile Teams. CSPM stands for Cloud Security Posture Management. Let's start with a quote from WIT's research team. They are one of the leading cloud security companies. Coincidentally, they also provide their own CSPM solution. Once a virtual machine is exposed to the internet, an unknown IP attempts to access the instance in less than 60 seconds. Anyone who has deployed public resources in public networks have seen this their own eyes. They really do start receiving probes and brute force attempts almost immediately when the resources are exposed. However, this is not related to virtual machines, but also other cloud resources start receiving those probes and connection attempts almost immediately. The resources are or become public via DNS, maybe via certificate transparency logs, brute forcing, etc. And likewise, these probes and brute forcing attempts will occur on them as well. Enter CSPM. CSPM, the term is originally coined by Gartner and has since settled as the de facto term describing the tools and the practices and processes of monitoring and controlling public cloud infrastructure risk by detecting and remediating misconfigurations across resources. And while tools are necessary for successful CSPM, also, the emphasis should be on practices and processes. And that's what we are focusing on today. Before dividing further, let's take a look at modern software development. So modern software development is business-driven with business-oriented KPIs and metrics. Its focus, direction, and targets are aligned with the change and they're aligned and changed with the business priorities. It's using agile methodology, organized in short sprints, and producing quick, tangible results. It is very fast-paced, and changes are being deployed into lower environments such as development and testing environments on a daily basis. The infrastructure of a modern application is developed as part of the application. So there are no different teams taking care of the infrastructure. There are no separate cloud teams managing the cloud resources for the application, but everything is developed together as part of the application by the single development team. And all of this results in frequent production releases. So releases are made in production on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, sort of underlining the fast pace of development. Let's take a look at an imaginary organization executing software and solution development. Here we have the development teams. They are driven, or the development is driven by business stakeholders according to the business goals and KPIs. There could be dozens or even hundreds of solutions in development, and at the same time, the development is executed by equally many teams. Then we have security here. So security is part of the support functions, and security has the responsibility of securing the assets and IPR of the company. But the development team are the ones who are actually deploying the resources and delivering the results to the business stakeholders. The responsibility related to security is thus shared between the security and the development teams. You have probably heard the saying, shared responsibility is no responsibility, and that is what is happening here as well. In addition to the responsibility, it's good to consider the accountability. Who is accountable if things go wrong? It's the line of business here who is ultimately accountable. Well, what can security do? Security can provide policies. The policies and the playbooks and the instructions for the development teams to execute their work securely, for the development teams to deploy the resources in a secure manner. These policies are naturally aligned with the frameworks implemented in the company or organization. Then security provides controls. So controls will be the sort of prohibiting measures that prevents insecure deployments or configurations from being deployed in live systems. This might, however, cause conflicts. There might be valid cases where business needs something changed or deployed on a Friday afternoon, and these controls prevent the deployment. And even though it's a valid case, the business or the development team is unable to complete the task. So in real life, not everything can be controlled because strict controls will prevent also valid things from happening. Finally, for the things that can't be controlled, security can provide monitoring. So when these potential misconfigurations happen, the security will be in the know and they will be able to react if the kind of assets, critical assets or critical resources are exposed. This is where CSPM comes in. So the basic CSPM tools or kind of the core features that CSPM tools feature or have are here. So CSPM tools provide continuous monitoring. The monitoring is usually API-based without agents, spanning from the cloud resources to the application and finally to the host or instance level. The monitoring provides malware detection, it provides IDS/IPS functionality, and everything is monitored continuously in real time. The solutions provide compliance management, so they usually support multiple compliance frameworks, and the checks and controls are based on those. So the reporting, audits, everything is based on or immediately reflected on the compliance frameworks supported. CSPM tools provide automated remediation. So it is closely related to the controls discussed earlier. The automated remediation enables more flexible reaction to these misconfigurations and events. For example, instead of preventing a resource from being deployed at all, automated remediation might automatically reconfigure the resource to mitigate the security issues. This automated remediation might cause still some conflicts, but due to the granularity of it, the amount or likelihood of conflicts is a lot lower compared to strict controls. Asset management is one of the core features. So asset management provides comprehensive visibility into the cloud resources across all accounts, regions, resources, etc. New resources and changes to existing resources are accounted for immediately, and also all the checks and alerts are executed on them. And finally, if valid for the use case, they are also multi-cloud. All of the big cloud providers provide their own CSPM solutions for their particular cloud. Those have the lowest barrier of entry in terms of getting started, but they usually do not support multiple cloud environments or platforms. So for multi-cloud capabilities, you might have to look for other third-party solutions. All in all, these CSPM tools provide kind of context-based risk assessment that correlates misconfigurations to other risk factors such as vulnerabilities, identities, network exposures, secrets, sensitive data, and malware, and so forth, and provide visibility and automation over all of the findings that are found in these areas. However, the tools alone, they won't fix the issues alone. We remember that there's the organization, there's the shared responsibility, and there also might be, in some cases, conflicting interests. So what is needed? Processes. They are the things that will glue the CSPM together and enable proper activities around the findings that are found by the solutions. Let's take a look at an example case. Here is a sort of enterprise example, a big company. They have the whole package. There's the CSPM tool, there is the CSPM processes in a sort of enterprise manner. They have monthly CSPM meetings. Software development is organized in 2-week sprints, and production deployments occur a week after every sprint ends. So on week 0, there is a finding, there is an alarm in the CSPM solution. But the CSPM meeting is 3 weeks away. So the security or the people who see the alarm wait for the next CSPM meeting to occur in order to start engaging this finding. Then on week 3, there's the CSPM meeting. The finding is discussed. They evaluate potential ways to fix it and agree on the final fix and agree that it will be deployed. However, a sprint has started for the development team, and the sprint story points already exceed the velocity of the development team. So they can't accommodate the fixes in this sprint. So there is another 2-week delay in order to get the fix deployed. On week 5, finally the sprint starts. And this sprint will accommodate the fix, and the developers, they execute the fix, and it's ready to be deployed. Then there's the 1-week delay from the sprint end until the production deployment. So kind of there's a 1-week waiting time, and finally on week 8, the fix is deployed. And considering the quote from Wiz earlier, with the sprint model and production deployment schedule, the misconfigured resources have been live in production already for weeks. Considering the situation, this cannot be a successful approach. Those instances and other resources start getting probes and brute force attacks almost immediately when they have been exposed. There needs to be a better way. Also, maybe, hopefully, real-time is not as black and white as this example, and there is a way to sort of shortcut these changes into the production as well, also in the enterprise world. Okay, let's take a look at processes that are aligned with agile ways of working and business-driven development. Above, we have our original timeline from our enterprise example. And in this, if robust, proper CSPM processes have been implemented, the bottom timeline describes this case. So the CSPM alert is delivered to the development team immediately when the finding is made. And the developer can immediately engage the fixes. So they still have the original ticket that was the result of these changes, of this misconfiguration of the exposed resource, and they can immediately go back to that ticket and make the changes according to it. They also while this is the timeline is so short, they also can be 100% sure that there are no dependencies depending on the misconfiguration. So it's really easy for him to go back, make the changes, and fix the issue. And here we are. The fix is already done. And this is a sort of early warning, early response mechanism. And what's best here is that this misconfiguration won't ever reach the higher environments like production, because the fix was implemented immediately in the development, immediately when the resource was exposed. So for CSPM to be successful, we need processes. And those processes need to be closely aligned with the business requirements and goals. And those processes need to be aligned with the ways of working of the development teams. The processes, as well as the tools, they need to support the tools that the teams use. So if they are using Slack and Jira or maybe Teams, or Rocket Chat, whatever, those tools need to be supported by the CSPM solution so that the information, the alerts can be delivered to the development teams immediately in time. These processes need clearly to delegate the responsibility to the development teams. And finally, they need to authorize security to take action. So if the process fails for any reason, security needs to be able to come in and take action. And I skipped over real-time visibility and alerts, but that is one of the key things that the alerts and visibility needs to be brought to the development teams. They cannot be left into the security only, but the development teams need to be aware of these as well. Then let's take a look at practical implementation of CSPM and a sort of early warning system in AWS using AWS Security Hub. So Security Hub is a CSPM service that performs security best practice checks and aggregates alerts and enables automated remediation in AWS cloud. And here is a sort of example architecture. In this case, there are multiple accounts, multiple regions, hundreds of or thousands of resources scattered around the cloud, and Security Hub will aggregate the findings from multiple AWS and third-party services into this one solution. And all of the findings around the cloud landscape that is in use are aggregated for the development team in a single solution. And this single solution can then be further used to integrate these solutions and services used by the development teams so that those alarms, alerts, notifications, whatever, are always delivered directly to the development teams. This is the sort of minimum that needs to be implemented if you have cloud resources. Naturally, your partners provide these solutions, so you don't have to build them from scratch. As a summary, you need to acquire tools to do proper CSPM. You need to implement the processes so that are aligned with the business goals and business requirements, as well as the ways of working for the development teams. And finally, you need to measure and monitor the performance. It's essential that the CSPM solution develops as part of your workflows and as part of the workflows of the development teams. CSPM needs to be a sort of living and breathing creature, just like the solutions that it's meant to protect. Thank you.